Hey guys, welcome back to Beardman Reviews. I was listening to this album just now, and when I listened to it, I was like, man, I have to review this. And and it's called "The Flame of Sodom" by the Ukrainian Christian unblack metal band Evroklidon. And it's great. It's amazing stuff. It's they do a great job at mixing really simplistic Sabbathy, heavy like type riffs, and just very cool melodic, extreme black metal. The vocals are very reminiscent to that of Varg Vikernes on the first three Burzum albums. It's very great, very heavy stuff, very repetitive though. So that's about the only negative thing I can say about this album is that it's very repetitive. But it really doesn't ever feel like it except for on one song, which I will talk about later. But literally everything else about this album is great. It has just such a cool atmosphere to it. It says on the CD that this album came out in 2005. And for 2005, the quality sounds very reminiscent to that of like early 1990s, which is probably on purpose because we're talking about a Christian black metal band overall, and 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 it's very raw sounding, but it's very cool. It adds a sort of atmosphere that would not be there if it wasn't for the raw sounding production. So even though that the production isn't great, what can you expect from a black metal band? First off, and second off, it adds so much to it. Um, it would not be as heavy as it is without the raw sounding uh, uh, production. And also like the riffs and feels of the songs overall remind me so much of Burzum again. I wouldn't call Evroklidon the Christian Burzum, not necessarily because they add lots of Sabbathy type of vibes. Like I said earlier, they're so it's like if you take Sabbathy, a stoner, doom, metal type of sound, and you mix a very Burzum inspired black metal and you mix it together, it will create Evroklidon, and they are great. It was a two-man project. Arteroth, I believe that's how you pronounce it, uh, did vocals, guitar, and bass, and then Rain did the drums, and the drums on this album go from again a very simplistic 4/4 like a type of like a stoner beat, and then all of a sudden it'll change to like a constant eighth note, like a double bass black metal like a type of song. Uh, uh, and it's just really cool to hear him go from like a very straightforward, very heavy, a type of simple beat, and to a very straightforward double bass. Um, Funny enough, to my knowledge, there's not a single moment of blast beats on this album, which is basically like the black metal staple, and like again, it's very reminiscent of Burzum, because to my knowledge, there were very few early Burzum albums or songs. I mean, that had like large amounts of blast beats throughout it, and like it makes it very unique. The Flame of Sodom is a very unique album. It's very the vocals are very raw. When somebody thinks of screamed vocals, this is probably what they think of because he's literally screaming. He's not doing a proper technique. He's just screaming his lungs out, but it doesn't sound bad. It really doesn't. It just sounds like Varg's vocals on the first three Burzum albums. Honestly, like that's what it sounds like. The vocals are not only screams, though like they're also on a couple songs. I mainly my personal favorite song, "A Funeral of a Dead Soul." There's clean singing on some songs, especially the aforementioned "Funeral of a Dead Soul." This album is very repetitive, but it's very eerie. It's very heavy. It's very raw. It's very you can tell like they are just absolutely like pouring their hearts out for Christ, and that is awesome. You guys may not know this, but I'm a hardcore Christian. I live every day trying to get more and more Christ-like. I try to seek after Him more than I seek after anything else. And so, like there are certain secular black metal bands that, as a Christian, I don't feel uncomfortable listening to. And although Burzum isn't necessarily one of those bands, I I still sometimes would rather not listen to them because of how Varg is as a person, and 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 I love this album because I can get my Burzum fix without actually listening to Burzum and supporting a Varg of Hickorness. Um, Not that Varg's a necessarily bad person, but he did kill a dude, so and he did burn down several churches, so I'd rather support a Christian who sounds like him. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Evroklidon, right? And they are. I hope I am pronouncing your name right. By the way, I'm not sure if they're together anymore. I do not believe so because I followed them on Facebook a while ago, and they deleted their Facebook account, or sorry, they deleted their Facebook page. I asked uh, them over Facebook Messenger, like, hey guys, are you still together? Are you still doing something? Are you still going to come out with a new album? and they never responded, and then they proceeded to delete their Facebook page, like I said already. So if they're together or not, I don't know, but I would assume not. I would assume that this is the only Evroklidon album that we are going to receive, which is really sad because it is really great. They had a very unique sound, and I wished that they would have released more stuff, but that's okay because that's a common uh, trope with Christian extreme metal, especially Christian black metal. They will release one killer album, and then just kind of fade away, and it's so frustrating because again, like I wish that Christian black metal bands like this would just release multiple albums. So that way, like we can all like thoroughly enjoy them. But that's okay. I'm sure that like there's a ton of other circumstances surrounding it. So that's okay. I am going to give The Flame of Sodom by Evroklidon. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Why do I rate this album higher than I rated Argent Moon by Insomnium? And the reason why is, as much as I loved Argent Moon, it was an EP. Argent Moon is better quality than this album, in my opinion, but it was an EP, and I felt as if it was pretty short, and because it's an EP, obviously, and it felt too short. So, like, if there was a full album of, like, Argent Moon sounding stuff, I would have rated it a 10 out of 10, no doubt. But since it's an EP, that's why I rated that in 8.5 out of 10. But this is a full-length album. Even though that there's only 6 songs on it, it's still like a full length, and it's a great full length album. The only thing that prevents it from getting a 9.5 or a 10 out of 10 is the fact that it is repetitive, and the vocals would get very monotonous if he didn't switch up his vocals as much as they do, which is awesome. And this album is primarily instrumental, honestly, which is also like really cool. Thank you guys so much for listening to this. I highly recommend, guys, check out Evroklidon. I don't know if they're on any streaming services. I would assume that they're not, but I would assume that they would at least be found on YouTube. And if not, guys, please search this up online and support Evroklidon because they need a support for how great of an album that this really is. It's like thank you guys so much for watching Beardman Reviews. Thank you for watching this whole entire video, even despite my stutter. That means so much. And as always, if you're not patient enough to watch it, then there will be a short review in the description, so that way you can read my thoughts on it without having to suffer through my speech impediment. Like and comment on this video if you would, and please subscribe to Beardman Reviews. Thank you guys so much, and I hope that you have a great day. All right, guys, bye.